Do you believe in free speech? Do you believe that people should be judged by their character, not their skin color? Do you believe in freedom of religion? If you believe these things, you're probably not a progressive. You might think you're a progressive. I used to think I was. My show, The Rubin Report, was originally part of the Progressive Young Turks network. Progressives struck me as liberals, but louder. Progressives were the nice guys. They looked out for the little guy. They cared about women and minorities. They embraced change. In short, who wouldn't want to be a progressive? But over the last couple of years, the meaning of the word progressive has changed. Progressives used to say, I may disagree with what you say, but I'll fight to the death for your right to say it. Not anymore. Banning speakers whose opinions you don't agree with from college campuses, that's not progressive. Prohibiting any words not approved of as politically correct, that's not progressive. Putting trigger warnings on books, movies, music, anything that might offend people, that's not progressive either. All of this has led me to believe that much of the left is no longer progressive, but regressive. This is one of the reasons I've spent so much time on my show talking about the regressive left. This regressive ideology doesn't judge people as individuals, but as a collective. If you're black or female or Muslim or Hispanic or member of any other minority group, you're judged differently than the most evil of all things, a white Christian male. The regressive left ranks minority groups in a pecking order to compete in a kind of oppression Olympics. Gold medal goes to the most offended. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream that his children would be judged by their character and not their skin color was a liberal idea, but these days it's not a progressive ideal. And what about religious freedom, the idea that no one else can tell you what you have to believe? Surely progressives still support that basic right. Well, not so much. I'm a married gay man, so you might think that I appreciate the government forcing a Christian baker or photographer or florist to act against their religion in order to cater, photograph, or decorate my wedding. But you'd be wrong. A government that can force Christians to violate their conscience can force me to violate mine. If a baker won't bake you a cake, find another baker. Don't demand that the state tell him what to do with his private business. I'm pro-choice, but a government that can force a group of Catholic nuns, literally called the Little Sisters of the Poor, to violate their faith and pay for abortion-inducing birth control can force anyone to do anything. That's not progressive, that's regressive. Today's progressivism has become a faux moral movement hurling charges of racism, bigotry, xenophobia, homophobia, Islamophobia, and a slew of other meaningless buzzwords at anyone they disagree with. The battle of ideas has been replaced by a battle of feelings, and outrage has replaced honesty. Diversity reigns supreme as long as it's not that pesky diversity of thought. This isn't the recipe for a free society, it's a recipe for authoritarianism. For these reasons, I can no longer call myself a progressive. I don't really call myself a Democrat either. I'm a classical liberal, a free thinker, and as much as I don't like to admit it, defending my liberal values has suddenly become a conservative position. So if you think people should be able to say what they think without being punished for it, that people should be judged by their behavior, not their skin color, and that people should be able to live the way that they want to live without government interference, then there's not much left on the left for you. I'll keep trying to explain that to progressives until I'm totally left out. I'm Dave Rubin of The Rubin Report for Prager University.
Now he says he's fed up with the modern left's autocratic tendencies and cannot endorse them anymore. Dave Rubin joins us from Los Angeles. Dave, thanks a lot for coming on. I wanted to have you on after I saw this amazing video that you did that did go viral explaining why you're at least shifting. I don't know if you're abandoning all your former beliefs, but you're reorienting for sure. Could you just basically sum up what happened, why you changed your mind?
Yeah, well, first off, actually, I believe the same liberal principles that I've believed probably since around 1988 when Michael Dukakis was running against George H.W. Bush, and I was in a social studies class where we were having a mock election, and I thought liberal was good. I mean, the issue that everybody's talking about, and by the way, I'm glad that I'm doing this tonight and with you, because you're one of the few people in the mainstream that are now talking about this. It's been bubbling up online for quite some time. And the progressive movement is no longer progressive. What progressive would be truly liberal, meaning for the individual, not for the collective, for liberty. I would welcome all your viewers to Google what classical liberalism is. It's about the individual and your right to do with your life what you would like. This is not what the modern left is about. So I actually believe the same exact things that I've believed probably for the last 30 some odd years, and it's the left that has gone crazy. And I know you know this, but of course on all this free speech stuff and judging everybody on their immutable characteristics. So if you're black, we judge you this way, and if you leave the groupthink, you're a traitor. If you're Muslim, if you're trans, gay, et cetera, these are reverse of liberal beliefs. And it's been very sad to see this. I've been trying to fight this on my show for a good 2 years now. And I suspect we've lost that war in that I've lost the left. But I see an incredible new center developing where people that are liberal are now lining up and going, wait a minute, I see a libertarian who can come to the same agreement that I have. We can believe the same things, just looking at it through a different political lens. So there's a beautiful moment happening here. But of course, it's lost in a big mess of free speech craziness and authoritarian nonsense.
Right. And part of the agreement that might bring people who disagree with each other together is that we're not going to use the legal system against each other if we can help it. So you had this line in here that stuck out at me. You said, I am gay and married. I do not believe that a baker or a florist or any business person ought to be forced to bake a cake for a gay wedding, because if the government can force a company to do something for one set of ideals, they can do it for any. So you see this as a threat to you, potentially.
Well, of course. I mean, look, I should lay out, I'm on Fox News, and I know people will freak out. Oh, my God, a liberal's on Fox News. So I should give you some liberal cred. Look, I'm for gay marriage. I even married a guy. I'm for legalizing marijuana. I'm pro-choice. I'm for reforming the prison system, and the list goes on and on. As for that specific line, I personally wouldn't want the government telling a private business what to do. Now, a lot of people will say, well, wait a minute, that sounds libertarian. You just want small government libertarianism. Again, this is actually a liberal principle, and I think this is something that most people actually believe. And I know there's a lot of good people that would argue with me and say, well, what if you live in a small town and you have a bigot is your baker in that one town? Unfortunately, I think this is a case where you have to use your foot vote. You have to then take your skills and your family and the money that you bring to the community and move somewhere else or order a cake online. And I know that doesn't feel right to a lot of people, but that in and of itself, this one person's bigotry shouldn't be an excuse for more government overreach. And again, that is a liberal principle, believe it or not. Yeah.
It is, to the extent possible, and there are cases where you have to, but try not to bother other people too much. That's one way to put it.
Well, that's the funny thing, that live and let live is a liberal principle. And what I've now found over the last couple of years especially is that defending my liberal principles has become a conservative position. So I find it easy suddenly to build bridges with people that like Glenn Beck and Dennis Prager and Ben Shapiro, that are looking to go, wait a minute, maybe we can find some common ground with liberals. And I often invite a lot of leftists on my show, or progressives, and I get blocked or muted or otherwise rejected. But I have had some too, and I welcome those conversations.
Tell me about it. I know the feeling.
Yeah, I think we're probably in the same boat on that.
Yeah, we are on that. To look up your video online, it's absolutely worth seeing. Thanks a lot, Dave. I appreciate it.
If you like the video, smash that like button. If you don't like it, leave a comment explaining why. If you have nothing to add,
ZeroFox given.